Welcome back to the Done Deal Show. Some big breaking news tonight on the Football Terrace. Liverpool plot a big bid for Wirtz after Manchester City withdraw their interest in the player. We're also talking Victor Gyokeres, a major update on his potential exit away from Sporting. Manchester United advancing talks with Delap as well. Obviously, with Liverpool just played and lost. I'll be blunt with you about doing a full match reaction to it. Don't matter. I'm a United fan. I'm gonna. Oh yeah, the worst defending. I can't do it. We're gonna have a little touch on that. We've got Tom Little and the guy's gonna join us later in the show. But I thought it was more pressing to talk about the big transfer news. Gyokeres update. Arsenal looking at Bryan and Mbeumo. Wirtz that you can see on the screen now, linked with a big money move to Liverpool. Bayern Munich still seen as the favourites, but that could potentially change. That could change as things move forward. A number of stories to go through. Cunha to Manchester United, practically a done deal as well. And I said a few weeks ago, the transfer window is going to move quickly. It's going to move swiftly. And we are certainly seeing that already. But when it comes to Florian Wirtz, this is a real interesting one for me. Also, Ekitike, we're talking about Liverpool interested in him as well. But when it comes to Wirtz, we've seen the news today, and I know you've all seen it. Everyone had a little laugh at City's expense. It wasn't advanced, according to Fabrizio Romano. Never really went anywhere. But City, it was only a couple of weeks. Well, they've got when they say it wasn't advanced, this is where I have to kind of disagree. And there's a little bit of PR here. City literally got themselves a verbal agreement with Bayer Leverkusen. You can't get a verbal agreement with Bayer Leverkusen and it not be somewhat advanced because you typically speak to the player first. However, they have pulled out of the transfer today. It does appear that Wirtz doesn't want to go to City. When he was in England, we know that Liverpool made an approach and met with his team. According to Paul Joyce, very well connected, very well respected at Liverpool, Liverpool are making a pitch, i.e. a bid, to Wirtz to join Slot's title-winning squad and trying to persuade him to opt for a new challenge away from his homeland. Now, Liverpool know, this is quite brave of Liverpool to be public about this. They know that they are second favourites alongside Bayern Munich, but they are going to push hard. They're going to try and get this deal done. And they could convince him. There is a genuine... We know the family of Wirtz wants him to stay in Germany. They want him to go to Bayern Munich. But there is a push here by Liverpool. They're not pulling out like Manchester City and others. We know there's obviously a big interest, a slight interest from Real Madrid as well. But that link, as you can see on the screen, is more to do with Alonso moving in that direction. But Liverpool fans... You're going to put a bid in. You're going to put a proposal in. You're going to try and agree personal terms. Bayer Leverkusen would prefer to do the deal with you as well. So if you convince the player, he could be yours. Frimpong already done. Gyokeres advancing. Wirtz as well on the list. It is building up to be a fantastic summer indeed for Liverpool. If they're able to get these players over the line, it truly, truly is. Now, interestingly, the next deal I want to speak about is Dani Olmo. You can see on the screen here, City reportedly now £50 million valuation. Looking at the Barcelona player, you can see stats this season, a decent return, 11 goals and 5 assists across all competitions. But more creativity is needed. KDB has passed it and is going. Bernardo Silva passed it and could leave. Phil Foden, is he going to step back up to the plate next year? Nobody knows. The Dorgus and the Savios, they're going to get at least one more year, but are they going to have the numbers needed? Olmo isn't a prolific player by any means, but this is a big City link. City fans, what do you make of this? What do you feel? Is this the right level of replacement for KDB now that you are not getting your main target Wirtz? Repeat, City will not be getting, as things stands, their main target in Wirtz. And we're going to come back to Cunha in a minute. We're going to come back to Delap in a minute. I'm going to speak for a second here about Hugo Ekitike, because there is a report tonight. I want to read this to you in relation to Liverpool that says that Liverpool... Actually, this is the one that's not in English. Let me translate it quickly. This is in German reports that Liverpool will promptly start negotiations with Frankfurt. The striker wants to take the next step in his development and wants to move to the Premier League. Initial discussions with Liverpool have already taken place on the player's side. Now, when it comes to Ekitike, we know that Liverpool's main number one striker target is Alexander Isak. And this is my view on this. Liverpool would be stupid to not start work on another player. Because Isak could, touch wood he doesn't, could do his knee tomorrow, could do his knee in a week, could do his knee in a month. There's going to be international games, isn't there, over the course of the summer? Anything could happen. So Liverpool need to do the groundwork for another player. There is also the train of thought that Liverpool and Arsenal that love Isak should just look elsewhere. 150 million is deemed too expensive by most. Plus, you could spend the whole summer chasing him and end up with nobody. And I don't think Liverpool can put themselves into that position. So look, we know that the demand is high from a Liverpool point of view, according to these reports. Chelsea hold an interest. Arsenal hold a loose interest in Hugo Ekitike as well. But Liverpool fans, it's been a massive couple of days for you. What do you make of that deal? Now, moving on to Arsenal here, before we start bringing the callers in, because there's a report tonight from Dean Jones at Give Me Sport that Bryan and Mbeumo for around £60 million. This is a player, as you can see, 19 goals, 8 assists this season. Very versatile, excellent technician, power and pace. That Arsenal hold a very high interest in this man. Arsenal are looking at the potential of doing a deal. I'm going to read what they actually wrote, what's actually been put down in the piece, if I can find it. Here we go. It says Arsenal have an active interest in signing Bryan and Mbeumo this summer. According to Give Me Sports sources, Arsenal are particularly attracted to him based on his value at 60 million due to the promising underlying performances, stats, and his versatility. And I think that's key for Arsenal because they need someone that can back up Saka on the right-hand side. But they also need an individual that maybe can play central at times, whether it's more of a support striker role, whether it's in the number 9 role. This is key. I know everybody wants specialists, but the versatility of an Mbeumo would be excellent for Arsenal. We also know that Newcastle, though, are looking at him. Newcastle really rate this player. Newcastle really want him. They really, really do. So for me, I look at this deal and think to myself, if Arsenal were able to pull something like this off alongside a striker, again, we've seen great moves so far by Liverpool. At the end of the day, Arsenal have got to respond. Arsenal have got to make moves here. They've got to make a splash. They can't afford to just sort of sit around and twiddle their thumbs. A lot of business is happening early in this window. But Gooners, what do you make of this link? I'd love him at Man United. We know Forest want him. We know Newcastle have been seen as the favourites to land him for a period of time now. But how this one plays out, we will see. Now, Victor Gyokeres, as you can see, 45 goals, 8 assists in 41 games this season. High on the agenda for Arsenal, a player that, according to reports in Portugal, they have put a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money in. Not money into yet. They're offering him a lot of money, willing to pay the kind of £60 million price tag that he would cost, and the deal appears to be advancing fairly quickly. There is a lot of interest in this man. We know Real Madrid have slightly sniffed. Chelsea hold a strong interest. Manchester United, yes, are advancing talks with Laim Delap, which we will get onto in this show. But what has been reported tonight, the major update surrounding the Victor Gyokeres deal, is that Man United, according to reports tonight, have a genuine chance of signing him should we beat Spurs on Wednesday night. Should Man United generate the income of being in the Champions League, have Champions League football to offer as part of the personal terms and package, according to the reports tonight, Manchester United will hold a solid chance to land him. Now, Arsenal are still the favourites at this particular moment. Arsenal are seen as the more likely destination at this particular moment on the 19th of May, 2025. But it's a deal that if Arsenal want to get it done, they can't be watching the parade go by. The Portuguese league is over. The player is, of course, having a bit of a party right now. But I think Arsenal have got to move quickly. Man United win on Wednesday. Yes, they're advancing the conversations when it comes to Laim Delap, but this is their number one target. However, due to how poor we've been, due to how bad we've been playing, we just are not as attractive as Arsenal and as other clubs across Europe right now. But the belief is, and this isn't coming from some Man United journalists, this is coming from Portugal, this is coming from sources close to the player. There is a chance that Manchester United could sign him. That is coming from, I say, from a number of sources across Europe. Really, I've seen newspapers in Germany talk about it. I've seen Portuguese papers. Of course, the Scandinavian media is all over this as well. My personal, I mean, I don't want to get my hopes up. I love Gyokeres. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm not going to pretend that I don't want him. I would. I still think it's going to be Arsenal. But we will watch this space. We know the deal it feels like the deal is advancing quickly, and I'm sure there's going to be a major update on that soon. Sticking with Manchester United as their part in this story as well, before we go to your comments and then bring on the panelists, we've got Tom and Elijah backstage, is Laim Delap that you can see on the screen. Now, this is only broke in the last hour. According to The Athletic and Laurie Whitwell, Man United executives have held face-to-face talks with Laim Delap and are advancing on a move for Matheus Cunha and trying to get this deal secured as soon as possible for Laim Delap. Ipswich have given permission without an official bid going in for the player to speak to Manchester United. He was up at Carrington in and around the club today to learn more about, and I know these words annoy people, but the projects and what we're looking to do, and does he feel that he is the right person for us and vice versa. So Man United are advancing those conversations, and some believe that there is a there's a big chance that that deal is close. And some will say, well, Terry, how can you have a chance of getting Gyokeres if you're having these talks with Delap? Well, the same reason I spoke about Liverpool. They want Isak, but they're absolutely right to be looking at Ekitike. You need to have alternative options, because we could make the Champions League, and Gyokeres goes, you know what? Thanks, Ruben. Thanks, Man United, but my heart's now set on Arsenal. That was the reports over the weekend from Portugal, that he is bought into the idea and loves it. So maybe Man United can't turn his head. Imagine we'd say nah to Delap, and then he goes and joins Chelsea, who have a very high interest in him. Then we get told no by Victor Gyokeres. It's absolutely right what Manchester United are doing in this particular instance. It's absolutely correct that we are working on multiple deals at the same time. And I know Tom Little's backstage. I'm going to see him smile when I say this. I don't know how many years me and KJ and United fans have moaned about our club. We're only working on one deal at a time, not spinning multiple plates. It's really, really good to see it. And of course, we've all seen the news today. Matheus Cunha is practically a done deal. He's very, very likely to become a Manchester United player. £62 million. I'm excited about that. In fact, I'm over the goddamn moon about that. I can't lie to you. I'm really, really over the moon with this deal. It's exactly what Man United need. And I was watching this interview with Bruno Fernandes, and it's really triggered Ruben Amorim's detractors today. They've gone, I can't believe he didn't know that the league was physical. I can't believe Ruben Amorim won't adapt his system for the league. And what Bruno essentially said is that he basically said that the manager was a little bit shocked by the speed and the power and the kind of physical element of the Premier League. And he said, where in Portugal, it was far more technical, but the games weren't as physical. If you notice, that's another foreign player, by the way, saying this. Yeah, everyone gets angry when the English say it. I find it very strange. Everyone's gone, the manager's got to adapt. It's like, no, you silly sausages. He doesn't need to adapt his system. He just needs stronger, quicker, faster players in those positions, because we're quite a weak and slow team comparatively to the rest of the Premier League, but keep the system the same. And Cunha, for me, fits that mold. Great technician, wonderful drive, excellent physicality, brilliant speed, good availability, excellent strength. Man United lack that profile of player, and I'm very excited to see him join. Fingers crossed nothing goes wrong, but at 25 years of age, you can see 17 goals this season is an excellent return considering the team that he's playing in. There is still some interest from Arsenal. There is still a little bit from Liverpool and Nottingham Forest as well when you read the reports, but Man United seemingly winning this race. But look, loads of updates there that have come through. I want to get your views and opinions. We're going to get the boys on in a minute. Hussam's backstage as well. We're going to come on and talk about the... I bet he's in Cloud 9, Hussam, with all these different transfer stories for his club. This here from AMT, he says, Gyokeres 50 million and Eze 69 million release clause. Listen, if Arsenal were to do... AMT, I think you're an Arsenal fan. You've obviously been on the show before. If Arsenal were able to do that deal, if Arsenal were able to get those two players in for that amount of money, phenomenal, genuinely phenomenal business that would be. You wouldn't be able to fault it. You couldn't fault it. You really couldn't. 62 million buyout clause to be paid in 3 parts. Do you know what, Cedric? That's also such an amazing part of this deal. That Man United have convinced the club to take a buyout clause in installments, which means there is more money to spend up front on players this summer. Very, very shrewd business indeed. Liverpool won the league and just allowed themselves to just lose and drop points, and people wonder why City dominated the league. Listen, I'll tell you about Liverpool's defeat tonight. I weren't even going to focus too much on the show. I thought the transfer stories are far more interesting. They're on the beach. They rotated that most of the guys that started tonight wouldn't start if it was an important game. Half their squad was on a party boat somewhere for 3 days. It really doesn't matter. Remember, like I said before, only because City went for it as a record when they went and got 100 points, and then the following season it became like a gauntlet for clubs to get that. For the majority of my time watching football, no one ever cared about the points totals. It became a little bit fashionable because Pep went for it. And if Liverpool, by the way, 7-8 games ago went, well, guys, let's try and break records here points-wise, and that was something that everyone in the squad bought into, they'd be going for it now. But these last 3 games, I don't think it is any indication that next year they can't defend their title. The Sky tried bigging it up, going, oh, they've got a target on their back now, Liverpool. Yeah, listen, they lost 3-2 tonight, and Brighton deserved it. However, they missed some big chances, like Mo Salah's, and they had half their fucking team drunk and missing. I can't start criticizing it too much personally. I think that's a little over the top. I wonder how Cheeto is feeling. He would have played for Arsenal when the injuries came, but went to United. Listen, I don't know how he's feeling. I'm sure he's fine, mate. I'm sure he's fine, my old mate. He really, really is. Terry, you should add a category of fans' happiness towards the transfer. Be interesting. Higher club fan unhappy. Yeah, you guys like the new overlay. Anyway, hopefully you guys do like the new overlay and how it looks. Terry, you are a gooner. Probably want Gyokeres at Arsenal. Oh, that old chestnut. Come on, make better jokes, please. Make better jokes. Ben Jacobs tonight has actually said, I did read this earlier. Ben Jacobs has said that Benjamin Sesko remains on Manchester United's radar, but a move for OSimehn is not expected. Yeah, I'm sad about the OSimehn move. At the same time, no one's buying him, and I really would like to know why. I really, really would. Thank you, DR and Lloyd, for liking the new overlay. I want it to look professional, and hopefully it does. Hopefully it does. Right, let's bring some of the panelists on now to have their say tonight on the show. I'm actually going to change screens. It's probably going to be easier to change to this one. It shouldn't change how. Yeah, I've changed something. You guys can see what I do. Hussam is here with me. Tom Little and Elijah are here as well. Welcome, gentlemen. Obviously, I know Liverpool played tonight. Do you want to talk about it, or do you want to speak about Wirtz?
I've got one thing to say about that game. Thank God I never have to watch Núñez after this season. Thank God I never have to watch Darwin Núñez play for this football club after this season. Outside that, don't really
Never
care.
forget you backed him in August, but I'll let it go.
The drowning man will delude himself and try and drag others down with him. We needed him to work, and it didn't. So just give me whatever money I get for him now.
Yeah. Anyway, no one cares about the game.
Arsenal
one
fans
cares.
do.
Yeah, I mean, Igal is making it a thing on Twitter. It's just very sad the way he's coming out. So, what do you want to talk about, Terry?
Well, I wanted to ask you about the situation with Wirtz. Paul Joyce has come out tonight and said that you guys will make a bid. We obviously all seen the news today that City have pulled out. Liverpool are going to send a proposal through to try and sign him. Sammy McBell and a few others have all confirmed that you're really going to push for this deal. What do you rate your chances of signing him?
I think the pinnacle for German players is Bayern Munich. That's just the unfortunate reality. I think one of the things that happens in Germany that does not exist in England is I truly believe that there is only one big club in Germany. That's just the reality of the situation. Like, you know, in England there's Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, blah blah blah. Like even City now. But in Germany that's not the case. In Germany it's like they've got Bayern Munich that's really massive, and then you've got clubs that are like okay, and then you know, like a little bit known, stuff like that, like with Dortmund and stuff. So most players in history, like Toni Kroos, Neuer, wherever club, like it's just the best of the best, the Kloses, even the Podolskis, the best of the best German players always dream about playing for Bayern Munich. I mean, we even saw it with Leroy Sané. You know, the guy was playing at Manchester City, having a fantastic season, and even he decided to move to Bayern. Same thing with Gnabry. Like, it's just, it gives you a guarantee essentially to play for the national team. You're guaranteed league titles. It's a dream for German players to play for Bayern Munich. And here's the thing. It shows great ambition for us to try. It shows great ambition for us to actually attempt to get the player in, which I think is important to at least be on the table for a player like this. When a talent like this is available, when a player like this is available, I think it's important for us to show face, you know? It's important for us to show face. It's important for us to be there when stuff is needed. So for me, I like the fact that we're there, but I do think that he is gonna end up at Bayern Munich. Like, that's just my honest opinion. I think he's gonna end up there. I think it's very important for us to be on the table just in case, you know, he wakes up and he goes like, "Yo, I want to leave Germany." We're there, and I think it's important. Obviously, the stories that came out 4 or 5 days ago, the Bayern director came out and said like, "Yo, you guys are reporting lies." He wasn't even meeting with Manchester City. He was meeting with Liverpool. So I guess that in itself is. You know, the Bayern director actually called it out. He said, "You guys write bullshit every week." That's what he said. The guy was meeting Liverpool representative, not even Man City representative. So City pulled out. I guess Wirtz wasn't interested in the City thing. You know, some people want to play for a club where it means more. So, yeah, I think this is strictly a decision of if Wirtz goes like, "I want to leave Germany," he's coming to Liverpool. So it's just a matter of preference for him and his family and his life.
I think I get your point, and I don't necessarily disagree that Bayern is the pinnacle for a German footballer. My hope is that as a German footballer, he's achieved everything he can in Germany, though. If he goes to Bayern, he's just achieving what he done at Leverkusen. My hope would be that he looks at this as an opportunity to take his talent somewhere new and take on it differently, because if we're being honest here, no title for Bayern Munich is going to match, unless they win an entire season winning every game. It's not going to match what he done with Leverkusen, going invincible. So it's not like it's the only thing he can do in Germany that he hasn't done is win the Champions League, and we could do that here. I don't think that's necessarily something that has to be done in Germany only, per se. I'm hoping, it's hope, that he considers that and goes, I think it's time for me to try somewhere new in my career. Try a different country, try a different culture, try a different country, try a different culture, and play for one of the most exciting teams on the planet. And I do think if he gives us the go-ahead and says, "Look, I'd play for you, I'd join you," I do think we pull out every stop to make it happen.
No, I agree with that, Tom. But we're talking about decisions here made by a German player being approached by Bayern Munich. What, like, this has nothing to do with rejection. This has nothing to do with clubs. Like, okay, Liverpool are willing to put the money on the table. Liverpool are willing to do all this. We get it. The reports are there and everything. Beautiful. All I'm saying is, based off of history of all the players that we have watched, based off of everything that has happened in the past, the truth of the matter is, I look at someone like a Florian Wirtz, and just like any German player, he wants to play for Bayern Munich. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. Unless what you're saying is true. Unless he wants to challenge himself, try a different league, blah, blah, blah. Then Liverpool will be there, which is fantastic for us, obviously.
All you can do in that scenario is, like you say, be there, try. And if he does want to stay in Germany, then fair enough. Like, he's entitled to that. He's got the option. And if he wants to try and force that for whatever reason. But if you don't try, you don't get. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think you've got to go for it. I mean, Ram, how do you see it? I mean, is it a player you would like to see Liverpool break? Because you are going to have to break it's going to be a lot of money to bring him in, salary, transfer fee, etc. Is that something would you be comfortable with that? If you offered maybe, 20, 30, 40 grand a week, more money as well, is that something you want to see FSG do from a ambition perspective?
Terry, respectfully, we're paying that kind of money for a superstar. He is a superstar at the end of the day. He's one of the golden childs of Germany. I'll compare, if we do end up signing him, is very, very comparable to when we signed Torres in 2007. He is that kind of caliber player. He's arguably top 10 youngsters in the world, even top 5. I could go further than that. Like, the quality that he possesses, the technical ability, he may not be the golden child of Germany. I still think Musiala has been crowned that because he's been buying through and through, and that's how we all know Germany is basically Bayern Munich in a nutshell. But for me, and I keep hearing this word ambition thrown all the time in the Terrace group chat. If you're telling me we're going to spend money, 150 million, it looks like, on someone like Florian Wirtz, I'm telling you, that's ambition if I haven't seen it. That is talking about competing with the best of the best to sign a superstar that can really take you forward. He has the quality, he has the ability, both not only for club but also for country as well. He's performed well for Germany, and is a starlet for Germany as well. You saw him at the Euros; he was tearing up with Musiala, both of them together. The one thing I will say, if he joins Bayern Munich, will he be the star boy? Because Musiala's always been that. Ever since Hansi Flick put him in, everyone said Musiala's going to be the star boy. He's going to be that guy that takes us forward. Would he want to settle for that? Because he will probably be the second choice behind him. And you know how players are like. They can be very arrogant, very egotistical.
They can. Can I ask a question? I don't know the answer to this. The question: what are the German? In America, if they get a boxer, especially if he's like a big weight, and he happens to be, I'll just say it, if he happens to be like white, blondie hair, blue eyes, he's like the great American hope type, the great white hope they call him, and they seem to get, and they do. A Germany like that as a nation where, because like Wirtz, everything about him looks and sounds sort of typical German. Would they kind of elevate him to be the poster boy, or maybe they don't act that way? Because, for instance, France don't do that. England don't do that. Like Saka's our boy. Like, I'm just saying, is that something Germany would do?
Oh, I mean, Germany is very good at building up their own talent without putting too much pressure on them. The way I see it is in terms of a stylistic point of view.
I actually just understood what Terry said. Yeah, that's what I was saying as well when I was saying why I think he joins Bayern. I get what you meant now. That's the same thing that I was trying to explain. I just think they all want to play for Bayern. I'll be honest with you. Like, if given the chance, they would all be like, they want to be like the poster child and stuff like that.
And I get that. It's just some countries have this thing where, like, if someone's got a certain type of name, certain type of look, they get elevated up the ladder. Where in England, when it comes to heavyweight boxers, it don't matter. Do you know what I mean? Frank Bruno weren't even our best, and he's one of our greatest legends. But I know America.
The reason why I pushed back on that, Terry, the reason why I pushed back on that, I felt as though ever since Musiala came through, especially from the German press, he was seen as the boy, that guy, the golden child. You know what I mean?
Sorry, I read a comment that made me laugh.
I just feel as though he was inaugurated as that kind of person.
Yeah. Again, by the way, listen, if you're a German and you're watching, I'm not trying to offend. I'm just asking a question, and it's not. I'm not saying it's good, bad, or indifferent. It's just Liverpool Football Club do it for Scousers. Like Liverpool Football Club, you could have, like Wirtz, you could buy him and he's a superstar. If Liverpool suddenly had a born and bred Scouser that came through the academy that was in and around the same level, he would be elevated to a different level, because Liverpool do that to their own on a more local scale. Some clubs do it, some nations do it. I'm just asking that question. I just want to know.
Is that Christian Pulisic, I think, was a little bit like that for the US. Like, yes. he was the great American hope, the guy, I hope.
Who else did they have, though? We're not doing Josie Altidore, the great American
Josie Altidore.
Tyler Adams, mate. Tyler Adams. Weston McKennie.
Tim Howard could not
Just-
continue to be the
break
great
it down
American
real
hope at
quickly, just from a
35.
football perspective. Let me just say one thing. Bayern don't want to pay the 150 million. Let's establish that first. Bayern don't want to pay the 150 million. Bayer Leverkusen don't want to sell to Bayern Munich. They would prefer if Florian Wirtz left the whole league. So in terms of club to club, it would be easier for Liverpool Football Club to deal with Bayer Leverkusen Football Club. The problem is, if Wirtz says, I want to go to Bayern Munich, then there is nothing that we can do about it because it's simply the stuff that we've been talking about, which is German player dream, Neuer from Schalke, Toni Kroos, Leverkusen players, Michael Ballack. We all know, you watched what happened with Leverkusen 30 years ago, infamously. 20 years ago, sorry, Terry. When they lost out on everything, Ballack ended up at Bayern. It's just the German dream. There's nothing we can do
have
about
a little pushback
How
on
long has he got
this,
left on his contract? How long has he got left on his
I think it's
contract?
2
'Cause
years.
ultimately,
2
they
years.
can't. Okay, yeah. When it comes,
See?
And one thing I will push back on, if you look at historically German players that are elevated worldwide, like your Kroos, Mateus to an extent, they all left Germany. And Mateus went to Italy, won a Ballon d'Or, won several league titles with Inter.
Timo Werner.
Klinsmann, I was going to say.
You want put Timo Werner there, put Timo Werner there.
You get the point I'm asking. Like I say, I'm only asking the question because, and listen, in fairness, I think in football, internationally, we definitely do it. The way Raheem Sterling would be treated, even when he was our best player versus Harry Kane. It's not on the players, by the way. And I'm only asked a question based on what Ram said, and it's like he wouldn't be the poster boy at Bayern. And I'm asking the question, could he be? Because he is a typical, could he just be? They go, that's the poster boy we want, to be the star player of the biggest team in a country that loves its football. I'm just asking. I don't know the way it works. It's only a question. Question shouldn't offend people. It's knowledge. Maybe you go, no, they're not like that. And I go, well, I've learned something today. Let's do a few super chats here. First one says, how bad are Arsenal missed opportunity in the Premier League and all? You can't be blaming that. You talking about because Liverpool haven't won one of their last 3 games. Game states changed.
Oh
Game states
my God.
Changed.
I'm shocked we got 1 point.
The players came back from Dubai 2 days ago. You saw the Instagram posts. Have some shame. Fucking Arne Slot was in Ibiza, bro, partying, bro, with the DJ. Allow it, man.
Like, he
Please.
started Federico Chiesa. That's the biggest message. He started Chiesa. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
No one cares at this point. If anything,
No
I find
one.
it funnier how Arsenal fans are reacting. The big thing now is, Liverpool can't get as many points as we got last year. Oh, whoop-de fucking do. So if you'd done that this year, you would have won the title.
Yeah.
But you know what will happen if we draw a couple of games at the start of next season. What they'll do? They'll say in the last 7 Premier League games, Liverpool have got 4 points, or that's what they'll do. So it'll become a talking point if something like that happens. But
the only time it becomes an issue is if you start next season slowly and it's like, oh my God, since you've been champions, you've only won 1 in like 8 games. And
yes,
it can, but I just don't think it matters at this particular juncture. Joshua Jack says, we are sausages because the manager has no plan B. Do you know what is though, Josh? Do you want to know for a fact? Well, we know
He's a United fan, no, Joshua?
Yeah, he doesn't like Ruben Amorim. But do you want to know why Ruben's got a plan B? Managers that have plan Bs stick centre backs up front to help try and win games. And they start knocking the ball long. And I'll be honest with you, boys, one of the biggest criticisms you guys often would have on this show about Klopp is when it wasn't working, there wasn't like a big change around. Pep's even been criticised for it. But it was something that Jose Mourinho was always lauded for. It ain't working. He'd stick a big lump in the box and start whipping balls up there. So for Man United fans to say, in certain games, Ruben doesn't have a plan B is a lie because we've seen him do it. Secondly, if you actually listen to what Bruno was saying, it was a fairly trivial comment that he made where he was laughing. Of course, the manager was prepared for it. You could imagine that Ruben didn't drag him in the office and go, how dare you didn't tell me it was physical here. It was probably a bit of a, okay, now he didn't tell me it was that physical because the first time he saw it. But there's an easy fix. It isn't change the system, right? To accommodate slow players. It's buy stronger players. That's what we should do. I don't get. This is what I find weird about the Amorim agenda. It's a bit like the Arteta outers. I don't want him getting good players. Why should he get good players? What, in case he proves you wrong? What? Like, we should definitely buy better, stronger, faster players. and it would make our system, any system, better. It's not an issue, my friend. But yes, it's a crazy one. On some of the other transfer news tonight, Jen. So I wanted to. That picture made me laugh. I wanted to ask you the news coming out about Laim Delap, Man United, holding those face-to-face talks today at the ground. Good or bad business, Elijah, for Man United?
Oh, let's see. I think it's okay, but what I will say to is that I think Man United should get Victor Gyokeres because number one, Ruben Amorim knows him, if you know what I mean. Now it depends on. Now listen, if Laim Delap wants to go to United, then that's fine. But Victor Gyokeres is an amazing. He's doing really well this season. Like he's got 57 GA in like 44 games in all competitions. So like Laim Delap is a good player. The only problem is that Trophy League goals is fine, but I feel like Victor Gyokeres will be a much better signing than Laim Delap, to be honest with you, because Laim Delap is an experienced player. Victor Gyokeres is an experienced player, and he knows Ruben Amorim very well. Now, it all depends if you get Champions League or not, because Arsenal, like you said, are also interested in him. So Victor Gyokeres has got two options. Either I go to Arsenal or go to United. So that's the thing I would say. Laim Delap, if you get him, that would be good because for me, I feel like Chelsea, we were interested, but I think for me, we need to get Victor OSimehn at this point because, like you said, Terry, I don't know why any club is not going for him. We should go for him because Victor OSimehn is a good player. He may not be in the elite, but he's a good player. I watched him this season, and he scored 43 GA in 40 all competitions, and he's a good player. And that's why Chelsea need to get Champions League next season because maybe the wages are too high, but we need to get him because he wants to come to Chelsea, if you know what I mean. So I just hope that we get the job done. But
can I ask you one question?
Yeah, go on.
Can I ask you a question about OSimehn? No one seems to be willing to pay him his wages. Nobody seems to be willing to pay the money. I rate him like you do. So this is very hard for toaster people, very hard for crap content creators. Subjectively, I like him. Objectively, why do you think no one's willing to pay him what he's demanding and to pay his transfer fee? If he's as good as you and I both think he is, why is no football club willing to back it?
It's probably because I heard that he's got like 400k a week, which is a lot. But I don't know, man. I really don't know. Arsenal are interested in him, but it looks like they want to give Victor Gyokeres. Man United as well, but it looks like they're focusing on either Laim Delap or Victor Gyokeres as well. I'm really not quite sure. Now, in terms of Alexander Isak, I heard that Liverpool want to sign him. I feel like if Newcastle get Champions League next season, which they've got Everton at home and they will beat them. So if Newcastle get Champions League, that means he will probably stay. But let's say that Alexander Isak, Newcastle don't get Champions League, then I feel like Isak will probably go to Liverpool. So that's the only way I see that happening.
I hear you on that. Another striker that's linked to Liverpool tonight is Hugo Ekitike. Rack. What do you make of that?
I mean, look, to be absolutely honest, my answer on this is not going to be too interesting. I haven't really seen him play. I don't watch much German football, so I can't really comment on him. All I can say is some people rate him highly, but they say he's raw. And I think there are, just talking more generally in the transfer market, I think there are very few kind of proven right up there strikers. I think OSimehn is one of them, but for whatever reason, like you suggest, there are question marks over whether he's worth the money. I don't know the reasons behind them, but people say stuff, but you can't argue what he did at Napoli. And he's apparently had a good season at Turkey, but I don't know if that's necessarily the case. You have to weigh up the financial odds of that. Isak is going to be difficult to get out of Newcastle unless they don't get Champions League football, but they're almost guaranteed it. And so then after that, you're looking at players who are maybe going to be making the next step up. Whatever his name is, Ekitike may be one of them. Sesko is maybe one of them. Apparently, I know Tom loves him. Tom, look at that face. I knew Tom loves him. I know Tom and Sam are big fans.
Of who? Sorry,
of Sesko at Leipzig.
Sesko.
Sesko, yeah.
Slovenian Darwin Núñez. Oh my god.
What? Yeah. What? Hang on. One thing I'd say about Sesko, he hits the ball so much better than Darwin Núñez. Come on.
At least my striker can kick a football. He's not going to score many goals, but he kicks the football.
Why would he not score more goals at your club? With how well he tracks the ball?
He's not going to score enough goals. I'm not.
Okay.
We've given Salah and Van Dijk new contracts, mega contracts, 2-year deals. There was no point in giving them these 2-year contracts to then surround them with projects that they're never going to see the fruition of. If you've given them these contracts, it's so you can maximize winning now. I am not doing 100 million quid on Ekitike or Sesko and start on the same cycle that I started with Núñez 3 summers ago.
But
when I'm going to sit there and hope the striker eventually comes good.
But neither of those guys are going to be that kind of money. You're probably looking at about 50 million euros or something like that, I guess.
Ekitike is 100 million euros.
Then no one's going to buy him.
And I'm pretty sure that's
I didn't sit next to the Arteta ban on that, Terry. Was it good?
No one's going to buy him for 100 million. No one's going to buy him for. Then he's going to stay. Then he's going to stay at Frankfurt.
The perfect opportunity on our laps. For some reason, Antonio Conte wants Núñez. Do what it takes. If you're that desperate for a striker, give him Núñez and 20 million quid, and give me Victor OSimehn, and I can run a striker who scores goals for 2 years. Maximize what I've got here and then see what it's like after 2 years. If it's working, we keep him. If it's not, we can shift him onto Saudi and make a profit on him. And I don't have to see Núñez anymore.
Who are you talking about?
If it came down to it, I had to pick between Ekitike, Sesko, or OSimehn. I'm just taking OSimehn. And
hell yeah.
I'm not doing
Rax. Please don't tell me you want Sesko. If you want Sesko, I would block you.
No. What I was saying is that there's a couple of proven goal scorers out there. Your Alexander Isaks, your OSimehns, and those kind of guys. And after those 2 or 3 players, the drop off, you're going to young players who maybe at some point in the future, if you're willing to take a risk, may get there. So you have to choose how you're going to cut your cost. But
can I just say one thing? Can I just say, give a general response? I'm actually going to agree with something Tom said here. Tom brought up a good point, very rare, but he brought up a good point. He said, look, if you cannot get like someone that you want like of that caliber, the bare minimum you can do in my eyes is at least get Prem proven. Let's say, I'll give you an example right now. We would much rather spend 80 million, let's say, on Mbeumo than on Sesko. Because guess what? I know Mbeumo's like a second striker / right winger / fault line, whatever it is. Let's not get technical here. The point is, I know that Mbeumo in this Liverpool side is going to score me 17, 18 goals. Fairs? I'm not going to go over the top. I'm not going to exaggerate. 17, 18 goals. Sesko is a risk. I don't know that because he's got 14 goals in 30 Bundesliga games. Imagine. So I'm not willing to take that risk. So I think if the players that you're mentioning, let's say Isak says, I want to stay at Newcastle. Gyokeres says, I want to go to Man United. OSimehn says, I want to join Chelsea. Happy? So all 3 of them rejected. Now the next step for me would be signing a Premier League proven striker. I'd go as far as to say, I would rather us go sign Delap from Ipswich than sign Sesko from Leipzig. Because it's a low risk. At least they know all the stadiums, they know the country, they know the food, they know the language, they know the managers, they know the styles. So like Mbeumo going away to the Etihad, it won't be his first time playing at the Etihad. You know, like he's been there multiple times. So he has that experience of his back. So he would perform at a higher level. Which is why for me, if we can't do what like the strikers that we all want, the top 4 strikers in the world, Alvarez, whatever, I would go for Prem proven. Like I would rather sign Wisa than sign Sesko.
I hear that notion. I wouldn't even do that. If I can't get my top striker this summer, I'm just buying really good number 10s or false 9s and running this whole setup back.
Or even winger.
I am not buying a project striker to funnel everything through the project striker and watch as the project striker once again proves why he's a project striker and misses boatloads of chances and costs us games. I had 3 years of this with Núñez. Now, yes, Núñez is a very extreme example because Núñez missed copious amounts of chances. But Ekitike has also underperformed XG. And Benjamin Sesko has also at points underperformed XG. None of these guys are at the level of a striker who I would want to take the goal-scoring burden off of Mohamed Salah. So what I do is I then go and get all the guys who can take the creativity burden off him and just let Mo Salah score goals because he still does that to an obscenely high level.
I do
There's
get
more
that.
than one way to skin a cat.
There certainly is, and I think your suggestion holds a lot of water. The only thing I'm going to sort of challenge you on, and I'm not overly pressed on it, but surely you're not going to allow a bad signing in Darwin Núñez for you to never want to sign another young star. And the reason why I say that is because the one issue you have is this. Let's say you can get Ekitike for 80 million and you think it's too much. You can get Sesko for about 50, 60. It's too much. But maybe, as you say, let's go and get 10s. What if those two then have even better seasons next year and they go on another level and then, okay, now I want him. Now you're looking at 110, 120 million pound player. The one thing about the youngsters is that you do have the opportunity to buy them lower than potentially what their market value might be in a few years. And as much as I know you want players for the new deals for Van Dijk and Salah, you also have to think about the longer term future of Liverpool Football Club as well. You can't just think we have to sign players for Salah to win here and now. There has to be a mixture, right?
I don't.
Yeah, there has to be a mixture. That's why we're not asking for 30-year-olds, but we're still asking for players at least. Like, okay, we get it. Isak could say, I want to stay in Newcastle. Alvarez could be unattainable because his wife likes to live in the hot country. OSimehn might have already pre-agreed with Chelsea. You get me? Gyokeres wants to join his former manager because they're in the Champions League. All of these things we understand. But I'm just talking about now your plan B. So what do? There are players at least that are, like, if you genuinely, by the way, I'm being dead serious. If you offer me Laim Delap for 30 million or Sesko for 80, I'm taking Delap. I'm trying to mitigate risk here because what I do not want is for us to drop the bag on someone that I know is going to be a massive risk. The problem is with Sesko and Núñez, they're actually quite similar. Both of them are pace and power, very good at running in behind, but miss a boatload of chances and they don't have the fundamentals of football. What's more difficult? Teaching a striker the fundamentals or teaching a striker how to finish?
What fundamentals does Sesko not have in your opinion?
I think Sesko is a bad passer of the football. I think his link-up play is very lacking. And I think he's closer to like let's say Sesko becomes the best striker in the world 3 years from now. He's going to be the best striker in the world being a target man. He won't be able to implement the slot style. You know, there's a player you're about to sign, Cunha. I would rather us pay 70 for him than pay 80 for Sesko or Ekitike. So let's just mitigate the risk. And there's a reason for us to mitigate the risk, Terry, because we don't spend money often. So when we spend it, we want to spend it right. I want to spend it in an intelligent way. That's my point.
We also we stand by our mistakes. So let's say we bought Sesko for 80 million quid, and after year one, it's obvious that he's struggling to adapt. We're going to stand by him year two. And then we're going to stand by him year three. And at that point, there's no saying at what situation we're in. As I look at it, we are not in a position in terms of striker to accommodate a project for the price that they're asking for these project strikers. If Hugo Ekitike was 50 million quid and I had a striker who I could trust to start most games and I could use Ekitike when I wanted to develop him in the right way and take pressure off him when needed, it will be a no-brainer. But right now, with our striker situation as is, there is a very high possibility that if we spend 90 million quid on Hugo Ekitike comes in and starts pretty much every single game for us, and he is not ready for that. And we will just be starting the same cycle, in my opinion, that we started with Darwin Núñez 3 years ago. Now, it might not end the same, but I don't even want to start that cycle again. I've had enough of that cycle for at least a couple of years.
Give him time and he's going to develop and yada, yada,
He'll
yada.
eventually learn how to kick the ball in the back of the net. Yeah, I'd rather he knew it now. I'd rather we were maximising this now. So
can I ask you one more question? I like the answer. And remember, viewers, toast to people, this is for you. I ask questions to get more detail. I don't ask questions because I necessarily disagree. I know, isn't it mad we have to explain that in 2025? One final question on it, and then I want to ask you guys a Gyokeres question. Do you not feel differently about it because it's Michael Edwards making these decisions now? Does that not change your mind slightly? I get you're a little bit hurt because of what's happened with Darwin Núñez, but if you've got maybe the best in the business at running football clubs, could that not change your mind at all?
No, I've watched too much of Benjamin Sesko to not change my mind. Okay. Michael Edwards might well be a miracle worker, but he's not the coach. Michael Edwards could buy him. He's not going to mold him on the training ground into being this.
Michael Edwards just signed Naby Keita, so he can't be 100% spot on all the time.
I hear that.
Oh, yeah, but Naby Keita was also a different story as well, right? Naby Keita, when he played at the start, he was very good. He just constantly got injured. We signed him the season. We signed him the season before he came, and that season he was not just phenomenal. He wasn't injured. The following season, when he was at, I can't remember where we bought him from. He was injured a lot, and then he came to Liverpool and was injured a lot, and then obviously it kind of all went downhill from there. I'm. Many people probably won't be surprised to say if he comes to Liverpool, I'll keep an open mind. I think. Well, we don't look as fans. We don't really have much choice. If he shows up tomorrow, what are we going to do? We're not going to turn up and start protesting. Obviously.
Oh, I'm going to rant.
Sure. I'm sure you will. I'd expect nothing less.
It will be the most pain show support I'll have for the player until he proves me wrong, because I just do not see anything in him. There's a reason why I was so desperate for Arsenal to sign him. I just feel like you're pushing yourself into a tunnel you're not going to get out of.
On Arsenal tonight, there was some big news just before your game kicked off, to be fair. I love the fact the transfer window is getting motoring early, but it's frustrating when there's games on still. I hate when there's transfer news and a football match is on. It's like, what is it? The Frimpong news. Man United kicked off against Chelsea. No, I mean, maybe it weren't Man United Chelsea. It was the FA Cup final. The FA Cup
final
kicked off. I don't dislike Fabrizio like some people do. I'm not jealous of him, right? But he fucking tweeted, "Here we go," like 2 minutes after the kickoff. I thought, "Oh, you fucking idiot!" I know that he's got to get an exclusive out, but the FA Cup final just kicked off. But yeah, look, the story tonight that Man United still have a chance of getting Victor Gyokeres.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you guys a hypothetical. We know Arsenal are leading that race right now. We don't need to debate it. We all know that as of right now, Arsenal are more attractive. If Man United do something, I know at least three of you on this panel don't want to happen, and they win the Europa League, get Champions League. Do you think it changes that? Where will Gyokeres end up if Man United were to win that? What's your gut feeling on it?
Sorry, what do you mean? Like, you mean if you win the Europa or if you don't win the Europa?
If we win it, of course, if we win it.
If you win it, he's going United. I have fully accepted this reality. In my opinion, if Man United lift, there is an underlying reason why I need United to lose as well. Guys, let's all acknowledge Tottenham Hotspur are no threat to anyone. When you play Spurs, it's like pest control. It's just like you're destroying a mosquito. Spurs are a nobody club, and for the rest of our life, they will be a nobody club until they change like the whole ethos of their football club. Unfortunately, Manchester United are a massive institution, and they're the second biggest club in England. Now, if you tell me they're going to get Cunha and Gyokeres, I know that's minimum 8 positions better already. They're going to go from 16th to 8th, 7th, 6th, like immediately just based off of those two signings. In my honest opinion, I think if Manchester United win the Europa League on Wednesday, I think Gyokeres is as good as a United player. Because you've got now, you're going to add to the Amorim pull, and the fact that it's his former manager, the fact that he knows the system. Now you're going to add on to that Champions League football. Why the hell should he go to Arsenal? I understand that Arsenal are more attractive than Man United. I will say myself that Arsenal are more attractive than Man United. However, it's the fact that his former manager is there. That's a thing, by the way. That's literally a thing.
I thought it was interesting because Aaron came out a few weeks ago and said that we don't want players who come here only whether we have Champions League football or not. But that also kind of suggests that if he does come, like he's open to him coming, right? Like ultimately, you don't really know because nothing's been finalized.
The thing is as well, when Amorim said that, I liked it at first. Like, yeah, I like it, and then I realized, well, hang on. I've never heard a player that signs for a club go only join because they got Champions League football last year. Yeah, he's never gonna, every player says it's a dream.
What does he do when he don't get it the year after? Oh, I'm out now.
I'm out now.
At the end of the day, we all know that being in the Champions League adds an element of attractiveness, and it's not but the problem is everybody gets again overly polarized and binary with it. I've seen I agree. United have signed top players like Cunha without knowing whether they're going to be in it or not. But this is a different scenario. This is a player that has interest from other clubs that are in very good positions, and it might just tip the balance. Anyone who doesn't think that's even possible, I think it's a bit wet behind the ears.
That's Terry. And also, I want to. The reason why I said to you that I think Victor Gyokeres should be going to United is because Arsenal, when they have a good season, they don't win anything. Whereas for Man United, no matter how bad they are, whether they finish 7th or 8th or 16th, they win trophies. So for me, yeah, I feel like if you guys do win the Europa League, I feel like Victor Gyokeres might be going to United because Ruben Amorim knows him, and you guys win trophies, and no matter how bad you are. So that's the thing I will say about that.
I hope. I hope you're right.
I'll be honest. I think he hopes Arsenal. I don't
Yeah,
think
I agree.
United changes much because I think it's footballers don't look at it in one season isolation. And I know that he was very good under Amorim, but I also think he's not good. He's got to understand he's not playing in a team that was as dominant in Portugal. In United, this United team is awful. They're 16th for a reason. And they're not all of a sudden going to turn themselves into title challengers in one season. So I think he's probably going to go to Arsenal and see that as they're going to be in the Champions League for at least longer than 1 year, which is apparently his big factor. You need to be in the Champions League. So they're going to be in the Champions League consistently, and they put him in a position where he can challenge for the top honours closer in a quicker time and for a longer period of time than Man United will do.
I also think with Gyokeres, he's I said earlier, there's the proven world class strikers like Isak and the kid at Atletico and players like that, and then you've got the young up and comers. I'd say Gyokeres is somewhere in between because he's done very well, but there are question marks. And he's probably the only one that sticks out as being one who's somewhere in the middle, where he's proven to some extent. He's done it in a big-ish league, even though it's not like top level. But he's done reasonably well in the Champions League. He's won trophies. So I think he's kind of a little bit somewhere in the middle when it comes to that.
Gyokeres has the world-class numbers without the world-class pedigree of league. Whereas all the other two have the world-class numbers and the world-class pedigree of league. I think that's how you break it down.
I think look, I get the question marks that people have over Gyokeres because of the level of the Portuguese league, but he's doing it internationally. He's been scoring and playing well in the Champions League, and at the same time, there's something about him because it's sometimes you get those players even in better leagues where they have a season where look, he got 25 goals last year, but you look at the 4 seasons before it and then the couple of seasons after, and it was like a bit of an anomaly season. He has done it 2 years back to back, was scoring in the Championship before he went out there. But I do get the question marks people have. I really like the look of him. I think Arsenal will get him over us. I'd be very happy if we did get him. Good speed, creates his own chances, scores goals. And we listen, and not being funny, like I'm at the point where I am thirsty, bruv. I am, as Peter Drury would say, I'm thirsty for it. We haven't had a top striker. I mean, Ronaldo came in and did well numbers-wise, but couldn't do the rest of what we needed because of his age. I still have little cold sweats. We got Cavani at the end of his career, but we never. But in terms of, I don't know, we're probably going back to Zlatan. The last time we had,
you don't need to go back that far. You could have just said it with, "I'm thirsty because Rasmus Højlund is my number 9." And everyone would have understood. They don't need to go, we struggled for years.
No, it's worse
than
than that.
One season of Rasmus Højlund doing what he does now would be enough.
It's worse than that. It's worse than that. Like, since Zlatan, I haven't really felt that comfortable with a number 9 at Man United. Cavani, for a bit, okay, maybe next year. But yeah, I just need one to be signed.
Anthony Martial, I gave you the good lockdown.
Well, he did. We did. It's just, you know what it is? Like, when you guys haven't really had a number 9 that's done it for you, but you've had Mane, you've had Salah. When you've got players in your team that score lots of goals on a regular basis, it just helps. And it helps because those kind of players will win you games that you maybe don't necessarily deserve to win. Or, you guys always talk about Salah in that way. He's so good. He'll have a bad game. Liverpool aren't playing well, but he'll bang that winner in. And we need someone that can do that. And also, when we are on top in games, who puts the ball in the back of the net semi-regularly, so we're able to win these games. But we'll see what happens with it. It's going to be an interesting summer indeed. Look, boys, thank you all for coming on. I appreciate it. To all of the viewers, it's all timestamps. So if you want to go back and look at the first stories that we spoke about in Mbeumo, Olmo to Man City and a few others, it's all timestamps at the beginning of the show. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we will see you all again very, very soon. Hang on, sorry, that's super chat right at the end. I love it when I haven't pressed end stream. Joshua Jack says, I have an agenda, Terry. I have an agenda, my Terry. Terry, I'm just very critical of a manager that has a 16th with our worst points tally ever, worst finish ever, that has a worse record than Paul Jewell did at Derby in the Prem. I understand everything that you're saying, and I understand your cynicism. I understand your skepticism of the situation. But you have to look at the game state, and I don't think we can ignore it. This squad is awful. The player behavior is awful. That Paul Jewell team was terrible. But you know, those players were running through brick walls for him. If we had players that were running through brick walls in every single match we play, we'd be in a better position. And they've done that, this squad and previous squads, regularly to managers in the last 12 years. I'm beyond being critical of the manager when I see this. And I'm looking at the deeper. And Josh, you have watched my shows for years. I am focusing on the root cause problems. Amorim hasn't made us this bad. Amorim is going through what all the previous managers have gone through when they try to make players run harder, work harder, and dedicate themselves to this team every week, and just not when they want to turn up. And that's been a learned behavior that's been passed down from squad to squad to squad. And we always turn on the manager instead of saying, you know what? Let's rid ourselves of the players that are doing this and not good enough technically, not good enough physically, don't have the right attitude. And let's build a squad and then see where we sit. I am critical of mistakes that he has made as well. But if I just do not believe we are where we are because of Ruben Amorim. And sometimes in life, you have to go backwards before you go forward. You have to strip away everything wrong with your football club. And Sam gave an example the other day regarding Liverpool when I get why he was calling Man United out, but he said we never got this bad when they were struggling. And he's right. Hicks and Gillette only took them from being title contenders to 7th. Well, I did some research after that because I thought it's interesting, but there was something about what Sam said that bothered me. Not from a factual perspective. He's right. They never dropped down to 16th in the league. But Hicks and Gillette only owned Liverpool for 3 years. And they took them from challenging for league titles, 7th and almost bankruptcy in 3 years. And my view is this. Imagine Hicks and Gillette stayed for another 17. Where would Liverpool be today? They had great players in that team in 2009. They were very, very close to winning the Premier League. They were an excellent team. The way you're run, they didn't suddenly get bad managers. It was the club became toxic and poisonous and the attitude wasn't right. Man United have gone through that for 20 plus years. It's been horrible in the last 12. So for me, I am looking at the root cause issues. Yes, the managers made mistakes. By the way, even if he won league titles, he made mistakes. But I'm focusing on the squad and the people that build that squad for the head coaches before I'm overly judging a manager. Why? We have spent 12 years judging managers first as the principal problem. We've consistently replaced them and continue to get worse and worse and worse. So for me, the manager isn't the common denominator. How the club operates is the squad is. I know the squad's different now to 12 years ago, but there's always, with every squad, there's a massive overlap and you pick up learnt behavior. We must focus on that as Manchester United fans. That isn't deflecting away from Amorim, but it's going back to what I asked for 7 years ago. We need to protect the position of manager or head coach. Not the person who's sitting in it, but the actual position. We cannot allow the squad to dictate when they're going to play, how they're going to play, how fit they're going to be, to do what they want. That cannot work in any industry. The students can't be in control of the teachers. The workforce can't be in control of their boss. By the way, we all called Arsenal out for this. There's no way Arteta should be the boss, right? And picking the man who's meant to be his boss. It doesn't work. There has to be a structure. Sam calls it out all the time. When Liverpool went a little bit wobbly, even with Klopp there, is when they gave too much power to Klopp and took it away from the people that were in Edwards' position. You need a genuine hierarchy with good quality people in it to run a football club. I'm not saying don't criticize Ruben Amorim, but we have got to stop attacking the big symbol that's in front of us and look what's behind it. Ruben Amorim is not why Man United are where we are. The same as Ten Hag isn't the reason. Ollie wasn't the reason. Jose wasn't the reason. It's deeper than that, my friend. Listen, I know a lot of people say the manager's got to be held accountable, but again, 8 times on the bounce? Come on now. Let's wake up, smell the coffee. I want to thank everyone who's tuned in. Brilliant panel as ever. Is this redirecting anywhere? No, cool. I don't want to not say. Until next time, my people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Peace.